What's up, everybody? I'm live on YouTube right now. For anyone who wants to join my stream, today we're going to be talking about Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff, about their booking, what they can do. Let's see. See, they talk about how Paul Heyman's a genius, and you have Eric Bischoff, and I can talk a little bit about their past. Now, Paul Heyman is a so-called genius. What's up, Jermaine Smith? How you doing? Thank you for joining. But Paul Heyman's like a genius in wrestling. They say Paul Heyman is a genius. He knows more about wrestling, more about how to book wrestling. He's supposedly the mad scientist of professional wrestling. But as a businessman, if you go back and think about it, I'm gonna look some stuff up, educate myself on this. Oh, let's see. Why did ECW fail? It says because of money issues. The travels were all right, man. Actually, my travels were okay. I'm actually getting more used to driving really far out of town, so it actually feels okay. It feels good to leave town here and there and go see other places. If you know me, I'm not really someone who travels a lot. I stay home and do my own thing. I don't like to travel. But yeah, Orlando, Daytona Beach is pretty fun. I got me an AEW hat. I enjoyed the show. My very first AEW event, I can say I went to an AEW event. And that means a lot to me, really. It was my dream to see. I'm tired, man. Real tired. But the final ECW pay-per-view was guilty as charged. I'm gonna look that up right now. How was it booked? How was the final ECW pay-per-view booked? Allie? When I saw her at the event, I thought she was pretty good looking. Her wrestling skills need some work. But she was Sue Young's partner on Impact Wrestling. Let's see. At the last ECW pay-per-view, we have Cyrus and Jerry Lynn defeated the Bad Street Boys, Christian York and Joey Matthews. Danny Doring and Roadkill defeated Hot Commodity, Julio De Niro, and Easy Money with Chris Hamrick and Elektra. I don't know these people. Nova defeated Chris Hamrick in a singles match. Okay. Everyone has a different opinion about wrestling. I just think she's good looking, but that's all I'm going to say. Okay, the Unholy Alliance, Tajiri and Mikey Whipwreck with Senator Mister defeated Kid Cash and Super Crazy, and the FBI, Little Guido and Tony Monoluke with Sally Gazzanio. It was the number one contender for the ECW Tag Team Championships. Simon and Swinger with Don Marie. See, all these ECW stars, I don't even know. The Sandman defeated Steve Corino with Just Incredible and Francine. Rhino defeated Sandman, and RVD defeated Jerry Lynn in a singles match. Rhino was the last ECW champion back in 2001. I'm not going to say Ezekiel Jackson, because that's not really fair, really. Ezekiel Jackson was the last WWE ECW champion. But going back to 2000 and 2001. 2001, the WWE, the WWE was hot in the year 2000. The year 2000 was probably one of the WWE's best years ever. Full, we'll see. People are so excited that Paul Heyman's going to be the director of Raw and Eric Bischoff for SmackDown. Now, Paul Heyman as a booker. I mean, if you go back to 2000, ECW, they didn't have a whole lot of star power. I mean, I did not watch ECW when I was a kid. I did not watch it. I did not care for ECW. I didn't care for it. It wasn't my thing. I didn't know who Rob Van Dam was, or Sandman, or Balls Mahoney. I mean, I remember Raven, Tommy Dreamer, and Taz made an appearance in the WWE at the time. Taz debuted at the Royal Rumble. Tommy Dreamer showed up sometimes because ECW and the WWE were kind of working together. But I guess there's no point when it's all a failure, I guess. And you can't pay, you have to make money, so you can't pay so many people. Um, ECW seemed to me like it lacked star power. I never watched it on TV. I never cared about it. Heard what it was. They called it extremely crappy wrestling. And I'm going way far in the past. Now, Paul Heyman, I think he's a good talker. He can talk. I love Paul Heyman. I like the guy. He can talk. He's interesting. He's fantastic as a person, it seems like, with Paul Heyman. But as a booker, I mean, is he going to keep the title on Brock Lesnar? Is that the plan? You know, let's keep Brock Lesnar the champion because he's my client type of thing. It's like now it's the ultimate test of how smart is Paul Heyman? How good of a booker is he? I'm talking about when he was the SmackDown GM. Remember when he was the SmackDown GM? Said back in 2003, yeah. Because I remember Stephanie McMahon. No. Stephanie McMahon lost in 2003 at No Mercy to her father and had to give up the position. And Paul Heyman became the GM after No Mercy 2003. And then, talking about Survivor Series 2003, we had Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Hardcore Holly, Bradshaw, and John Cena versus Nathan Jones, Matt Morgan, Brock Lesnar, A-Train, and Big Show. It was David versus Goliath type of Survivor Series match. We had the Basham Brothers versus Los Guerreros. What else happened at Survivor Series 2003? That was SmackDown. Oh, yeah. Vince McMahon versus The Undertaker in a Buried Alive match. So, because The Undertaker wanted to take time off. So, was The Undertaker returning as the dead man? Was that part of Paul Heyman's idea? Hey, let's have The Undertaker lose in a Buried Alive match, take some time off, and come back as a dead man. Could that have been Paul Heyman's idea? Survivor Series was Vince McMahon versus Vince McMahon. No, yeah, Undertaker versus Vince McMahon, Buried Alive match. That happened. So that was pretty decent booking if that was Paul Heyman's idea. Then it led on to rivalries with Eddie Guerrero versus Chavo Guerrero. Then it led on to Chris Benoit winning the Royal Rumble at number 1. That never happened apparently in wrestling history because he's scratched of history. He was the writer? Okay, yeah. So, he was the writer for SmackDown. Okay, thank you for clearing that up for me. I appreciate that. So, yeah. So, that was a good idea. A good way to bring back the dead man. Have Vince McMahon face The Undertaker in a Buried Alive match. And then have him come back as a dead man. That's smart. That's smart. Eddie Guerrero versus Chavo Guerrero at the Royal Rumble. Family versus family. That wasn't bad either. No Way Out 2002 had Eddie Guerrero versus Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle versus John Cena and Big Show for the number 1 contender spot. So, Eddie Guerrero becoming the WWE champion was Paul Heyman's idea. Because Brock Lesnar was leaving to the NFL. Hey, let's have Goldberg come to SmackDown. I'll tell you what, Brock Lesnar, F5 Goldberg in the Royal Rumble in 2004, and start a rivalry with Brock versus Goldberg. So that was a pretty good idea too. I got people texting me as well. So yeah, we got that. Eddie Guerrero became the WWE champion. That's smart. That's a good idea. And then have Kurt Angle versus Eddie Guerrero, which I didn't appreciate that match. It was WrestleMania 20. At the time, I didn't appreciate that match at all. In my opinion. Kane versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 20. We had John Cena versus The Big Show. John Cena became the U.S. champion. That was all right. Um, hmm. So Paul Heyman's run as GM is pretty good. Bischoff. Now, if you go back to Raw in 2003 or his WCW days, there's a thing Eric Bischoff had. It was controversy creates cash. Bischoff was a controversial figure. Eric Bischoff, okay. If Eric Bischoff could do it, remember HLA? Remember HLA, Hot Lesbian Action? He'd probably make Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose have a scene for money. Eric Bischoff had Kane lose his mask to Triple H in a match. Eric Bischoff broke a cinder block on JR's head. But my question is, was Triple H a politician? There was 2002. Eric Bischoff had Triple H as the champion, which was actually quite interesting. Eric Bischoff, he I don't know. Eric Bischoff, he's all about controversial stuff. So, I think he might be a little bit restricted to do certain things he wants to really do, in my opinion. He's one of those guys who would want to see Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville make out with each other for money type of thing. Eric Bischoff is old. Maybe he's just bored and wants something to do. Maybe he's bored. Like, what'd you say? Well, my friend tells me that with Vince McMahon, other writers write the shows and then he trashes it. So maybe the other writers are writing good shows. And Vince McMahon's saying, that's a stupid idea. I don't like that, you know? You know, really, it's like this really intelligent people, when you have all the brains in the room, it becomes an argument. There's also the saying, great minds think alike. Vince McMahon's like that owner of a restaurant who never shows up at his restaurant and thinks he knows everything. That kind of guy. Vince McMahon is a genius, but he's a different kind of genius. Vince McMahon is more of a marketing genius. He has so much money he doesn't care, basically. I don't think Vince McMahon really cares that much. If you're a billionaire, what do you do? I'm watching NXT TakeOver, by the way. Gargano kept kicking out of everything. Match was so good. But yeah, Eric Bischoff, Paul Heyman. I feel like all three of them are geniuses in different ways. Adam Cole versus Johnny Gargano on NXT TakeOver in New York. I just had to turn the volume down a bit so I could talk. That TakeOver was good. Takeover will always be good in my opinion. But Vince McMahon, I think, is a genius with like marketing and stuff like that and making money off product. Vince McMahon just isn't a very good writer. He's a genius in a different way. Um, Paul Heyman is a good talker. Paul Heyman, he's not the best businessman, but I'm sure he could write stuff pretty well. So maybe the writing should stick to Paul Heyman. Eric Bischoff, if he can make it interesting in a personal way, Eric, like, what's up, Brett Porter? How you doing? But yeah, for Eric Bischoff, like, Raw wasn't too bad. Yeah, Paul Heyman's good at that. But you see what I'm saying? Vince, Eric Bischoff, and Paul Heyman are geniuses, but in different ways. That's the way I see it personally. I mean, think about WCW back in the day. WCW beat Raw for how many weeks? Was it 80 something weeks? I don't remember. Even I'm bad. I'm not very good with numbers. So, what's up, DeAndre McGee? How you doing? Thank you for joining. I haven't talked to you in a minute. Hmm. It was all right. Fighter Fest was pretty fun, actually. I enjoyed Fighter Fest. I don't know if Evolve is part of WWE. I've seen NXT stars at Evolve, so that's what I'm thinking. I don't know a whole lot about Evolve Wrestling, but Kyle O'Reilly, it's Austin Theory, I think, is the champion. 84 weeks, yeah. WCW beat the WWE 84 weeks in a row. Yeah, 84 weeks. You're gonna play GM mode? Yeah, I wasn't sure. Although we'll say this, WCW was very professional back in 1998. There was then I think the finger poke of doom, things like that. Goldberg's title reign ending, um, Hulk Hogan becoming champion again. I didn't really watch WCW. I watched parts of WCW. My friend would film WCW pay-per-views and Royal Rumble pay-per-views and mail them to me when I was a kid, so I'd watch it. I watched the Starrcade where Goldberg. This is on VHS. But but yeah, I guess looking back, WCW was actually okay. The very last pay-per-view that Vince Russo wrote for the WWE was Unforgiven 1999. After that, Vince Russo went to WCW. Vince Russo basically killed WCW. So so yeah. There was also a theory that they sent Vince Russo to WCW to kill it. That was a theory they had. It could be true. Who knows? Who really knows? don't despise Goldberg. He's okay. I'm not the biggest Goldberg fan. I'm a Stone Cold Steve Austin guy. Can you tell by my haircut? Well, Goldberg's bald too, so it don't matter. And I'm talking about WWE, and I'm wearing an AEW hat, so that might tell you something. But NXT and now AEW at the moment, um, I I like Kenny Omega. He's my favorite right now. But that's talking about AEW. In the WWE, I kind of like Adam Cole. I know my favorites aren't really that good. So yeah, I like Adam Cole. I'm talking about NXT, Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, and AEW. Huh. The ending the NXT Takeover was kind of sad. Also, Ciampa came out to congratulate him. It was a pretty felt moment. Huh. Ciampa was hugging Gargano, saying, "Good job, man." Huh. Some people just don't like his character. But you know who? I'll tell you who my favorite heel is. So Jacob Maxwell Friedman, JMF. People don't like Kenny Omega's character. I understand why. I totally understand why. But you know what? I like Pentagon Jr. too. Yeah, he is. I always get his initials wrong. I keep saying JFK. It's MJK. Wait. MJF. I'm back, y'all. My stream messed up. I'm sorry. I had to move for a minute. You guys there? Sorry about that. My Wi-Fi screwed up. Well, if you use your phone on on like live streams, you're gonna get interrupted with Wi-Fi issues a lot. So it's a bummer, but it is what it is. And my connection got interrupted. But I will say, JMF, not JFK, JMF, 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 Jacob Maxwell Freeman, Jacob Maxwell Freeman. I'm bad with his initials. I'm bad with them. But Adam Cole, I do like Pentagon Jr. I think Pentagon Jr. is pretty good. I like him. Yeah, I'd say Adam Cole, Jacob Maxwell Friedman, um, Pentagon Jr., Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, and I do like Drew McIntyre and Finn Balor. I'm not really a fan of the revival of Roman Reigns. I'm not a fan of Seth Rollins. I'm not really a fan of Kofi Kingston. Happy he became champion, but that's it. But I'll see you guys around.